Have you ever seen a foundation to a building being poured? Did you know that it is more than just pouring a lot of cement into a hole, which I didn't know because that's what I thought it was. It includes several key steps to ensure success, as well as deciding first what type of foundation you even want to lay. Well, today's Unnamed Women of the Doctrine and Covenants will teach us about foundations, and specifically about this woman's foundation and how the type of foundation that she chose to lay made all the difference for her family and for us. Welcome to Unnamed Women of the Doctrine and Covenants. This is a special bonus series from the Sunday on Monday podcast. Now, if you're wondering, what is Sunday on Monday? It's a Deseret Bookshelf Plus podcast brought to you by LDS Living, where we take the Come Follow Me lesson for the week and we really dig into the scriptures together. I want you to know more about us, so click on the link in the description or go to ldsliving.com/Sunday on Monday for a free 7-day trial of Deseret Bookshelf Plus. And by the way, you get over 4,000 audiobooks, so it's really cool. Now, my favorite thing about the Sunday on Monday podcast is each week I get to invite 2 friends to join me and discuss the scriptures and real-life application. So for this bonus series, I'm thrilled to introduce you to my co-host, Dr. Jenny Reeder. Hello, Jenny.
Hey, I'm so happy to be with you.
And we are so excited because we have a friend joining us, and we love her. Who's with us today, Jenny?
Yes. This is Stacy Christensen, Stacy D. Hux Christensen.
And how do you know her, Jenny? Tell us the fun story.
Oh my goodness. Stacy was my seminary teacher in high school, starting my junior year, studying the Book of Mormon. And I just remember the scriptures coming alive for me. They had come alive before, but there was a new understanding and depth that I hadn't experienced. And that has stood with me the whole rest of my life. I actually think maybe it was with me from the beginning, but Stacy opened it up for me.
Yeah.
We thank you, Jenny.
She has that gift. And I love, because I'm friends with Jenny, then I got to be friends with Stace. So
Of
I
course,
love
you
her.
got to share your friends.
And I will tell you this. This is my favorite thing about Stace. I imagine whenever I go to Stacy's house and she opens the door and sees me, I imagine that's what will be like when Heavenly Mother and Heavenly Father see me. Like,
I love that.
She is so excited to see you, and she just goes, oh, get in here. And then she hugs you.
You're so easy to love. And I love sharing my life with you and hearing how your journey of life goes. And both of you, so insightful, so perceptive, so able to apply the gospel so easily to your lives and how that manifests. And you're so, quite frankly, honest about it. That it makes me feel like I'm just in good company. I can struggle and I can have hard experiences and I can still be hopeful in the end.
Oh, I love that.
Why wouldn't I want you guys to come into my house? Hello.
Well, you've
I
actually
know.
changed the way I let people in now. I used to be the type of person that would open the door and stand at the door, and not anymore. I'm like, come into my house. What do you want to eat? Use my bathroom. What do you need? It changed the way I am with people when they come to my house. Like, get in here, you. I don't want a quick visit. Come and talk. So, okay. Well, we are here today because Jenny is going to talk to us about a very important person in our church history. Her name is Amanda Barnes Smith, and Jenny knows her well. She's actually written a gospel topics essay.
Church history topics essay.
Yes. Jenny, tell us how we can find the essay you wrote about her.
This is on the Gospel Library app under Church History,
Okay.
which has a picture of the Nauvoo Temple. And then I think it's its own thing is the Church History Topics Essays.
Oh, there she is. Mm-hmm. I
Yeah,
just found
did
it,
you
just
find
like
her?
you described. Yep, there it is. Okay, so you wrote the one on Amanda Barnes Smith.
I did.
Very cool.
We wrote these to accompany the book Saints, which is a beautiful collection of narratives or stories about how the church started and how it grew and developed. If you want to know more about people or events or places or doctrine, you can go to these church history topics essays and it gives you a little bit more.
Very cool. And there she is, Amanda Barnes Smith.
There she is. Isn't
Okay,
that great?
teach us. Why do we got to know about her?
Oh, she's one of my favorite ladies. I love her. And I think if I tell you a little bit about her, her name will be familiar to all of you. Do you remember the story of the woman whose son got his hip shot out at Hans Mill?
Yes.
She's the one. That's her son. So you have heard of her. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more to put that all in context, because she's really is one of my ladies. She was born in Beckett, Massachusetts. Do you know who else was born in Beckett, Massachusetts?
No.
I'll tell you, Eliza R. Snow.
Oh my gosh, were they friends?
I don't know, because Eliza moved to Ohio when she was 2 years old. So I don't know.
Okay.
And Amanda and her family also moved to Ohio at different towns. Amanda had sort of a hard time growing up. Her mom, she didn't get along very well with her mom. I don't know if any of you know what that's like. And her dad, she was closer to her dad. And her mom was a nurse and taught her a few nursing skills, which I think is interesting because she certainly used those later in her life. When she married a man named Warren Smith, she also married another man named Warren Smith. 2 husbands named Warren Smith. Yes.
Same name? That's crazy.
I know. So her first husband, Warren Smith, he had actually had a first love before Amanda. And he actually told Amanda that he loved that woman's pinky finger more than he loved Amanda, which is horrible.
Oh, I want to hug her so bad right now.
Right? I know. And the thing is, she comes out of this. When she and her husband join the church, they go to Kirtland, they move to Kirtland. And then as they're leaving Ohio to go to Missouri, they stop by and say goodbye to her mother and father. And her mother says, I hope I never see you again.
Oh, my word.
And she doesn't.
Wow.
But Amanda, so she kind of has a rough, I don't know, early childhood, a rough early marriage, but she pulls out of it. So when she and her family cross over into the state of Missouri, they are attacked by a mob who doesn't like Mormons, and they take all of their weapons and they hold them hostage for a couple of days, and then they let them go. So their goal, their mission was to go to far west Missouri. They stopped for one night at Haun's Mill, and that happened to be the night of the massacre. And Amanda lost her husband, and she lost one of her sons, and another son was shot in the hip, as I said before. And it was a very traumatic situation. Mm-hmm. So this is in Saints, the book Saints, Volume 1. She didn't know what to do. And she prayed and she asked the Lord to give her revelation to understand how she could take care of her son. And I think she also used, like I said, some of the nursing skills she learned from her mother. She looked around her, and also the Spirit taught her to get a clean rag and put it in the fire so it was sanitized and warm and clean, and to stick it into his wound. And she did that. And then she kept cleaning out the wound to get out all the shrapnel from the gunshot. And then she took the bark of a slippery elm tree that was right by her and made a poultice and kept that on this son's hip. And slowly and surely, after a long time, he was able to get up and walk. And it was just because she knew that she received revelation from the Lord on how to do that and what to do. And I love that about her. Wow. The other story I love about her happens in the same place. So obviously the mob has taken her husband and her son and their horses and everything. So she and some of the other women in the area gather every day to pray together. They've also lost their husbands. And it's a tragic event. Well, pretty soon, the Missourians became concerned with this group of women coming together to pray and told them that they could not come together. They could not pray together. And that did not stop Amanda. She went into a cornfield. This is like October, and so it's all probably it's all dead and dried out. But in these in cornfields, not like my mom's corn that she grows in her garden that's so good. These are really tightly packed together. So she would go into this cornfield and she couldn't see anybody. Nobody could see her. And she would pour her heart out to the Lord out loud. And one time as she's doing this, she hears a voice say to her, the words from the hymn, How Firm a Foundation. So let's go to that hymn because I want you to read. Let's talk about this hymn and why it was so powerful. This was a hymn in the first hymnal, and Amanda was there in the Kirtland Temple in the Kirtland area, and so she probably had this hymn.
I love that it tells you to sing it with dignity.
Of course. So another interesting thing, that first hymn book that Emma compiled was very small. It was very small, so it could fit in your vest pocket. And so she probably had a copy of that hymn book with her. But let's just read these words really quickly. And I think it's interesting in this first verse. The first verse is to the saints, is the saints singing, but then the last verses are the Lord speaking back to them. So,
wow.
Stacy, do you want to read that first verse?
Sure.
Or you can sing it if you want.
Oh, I'll decline. You don't want me to.
Come on, you're the primary chorister.
Right?
Yes.
It means nothing about the quality of my voice. How firm a foundation, ye saints of the Lord, is laid for your faith in his excellent word. What more can he say than to you he hath said, who unto the Savior, who unto the Savior, who unto the Savior for refuge have fled.
Now they literally have fled, right?
Well, refuge for sure at that point when there's people massacring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Tammy, can you read that next verse?
Yes. And I will say this about, because you're talking about this, they needing a refuge and Hans Mill. I remember the first time I went to Hans Mill. So my family moved to St. Louis, Missouri when I was 16, and that's where they stayed for a long time. And anytime people would come out to visit, we'd go to see all the church history sites. Well, Hans Mill was never a site. Like there were no signs. The church didn't have anything up. And when I got to be a little bit older in my late 20s, I went with a friend to the church history sites and we wanted to find Hans Mill. I was a seminary teacher now. I was fascinated by everything that happened and all the atrocities that happened. And now that knowing Amanda Barnes' story, it's even more real for me. So we actually saw all the church history sites in the area. And then I asked one of the church history missionaries, where's Hans Mill? And they're like, nobody knows. He thought it was in this one area. So he kind of pointed me to this area. And so we drove and then we couldn't find it. And I said to my friend, let's just say a prayer. Like maybe we could pray that we could find Hans Mill. I don't know what I'm doing, right? So we do. We stop our car in Missouri and we say a prayer that we will find Hans Mill. And then we start just driving. And we have a thought to turn down this road and turn down this road. And out of nowhere, we see on a piece of wood, and it just was like in a movie, a little broken off piece of wood, someone's handwriting that says Hans Mill with an arrow pointing. And so we followed it. And we got to this spot that I think I had one of the most spiritual experiences, whether it was or wasn't the place, I don't know. I just remember getting out of my car and walking down to the base of where the river was and just feeling like I started crying. Like, this is where the mobs were horrible to the saints. And now you know Amanda Barnes and how she's praying. And then I read these words, like, how firm a foundation, ye saints of the Lord. And who unto the Savior? Who unto the Savior for refuge have fled? And then I think of my own life. Like, these words are powerful, Jenny. I'm so glad you're having us read these because I did. I felt the Spirit so strong. Is it labeled now, though, Hans Mill?
No. Well, I don't know because I had a similar experience to you. I was with my friend Janice, who's been on the podcast.
Yes.
And we were driving my grandmother's Ford Taurus, which didn't have a very high clearance. And someone told us like the exact longitude and latitude to find it. So we are literally driving through a muddy field. Mm-hmm. There's not a road. It's a muddy field.
You're right. It was a muddy field. It was like a dirt road for me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not paved.
No.
When I was going down, I'm like, I don't think this is right. But we just kept going. I love this.
Yeah. No, we never found it. But then I had to very carefully wash my car before taking it back to my grandmother.
You were probably so close.
I know.
Wow. Okay, here we go. Verse 2. In every condition, in sickness, in health, in poverty's veil or abounding in wealth, at home or abroad, on the land or the sea, as thy days may demand, as thy days may demand, as thy days may demand, so thy succor shall be. Oh, how much do I love that word succor? It
Don't
means
you
to
see the
run,
Savior
giving aid or
saying,
help.
right, wherever
running.
you are, I will give you succor.
I'm going to run to you and
Okay,
help
and
you.
we all know verse 3. Stacey, will you read that one?
Fear not, I am with thee. Oh, be not dismayed, for I am thy God and will still give thee aid. I will strengthen thee, help thee, and cause thee to stand, upheld by my righteous, upheld by my righteous, upheld by my righteous, omnipotent hand. It's really beautiful. I guess I haven't really paid attention to the fact that um, the it's as if we're singing our witness of him in 1 and 2, but he's singing back to us. That change of perspective, that point of view is actually really beautiful.
Right. And we often stop there because that's 3 verses and that's what's in the hymn. But there are a couple more verses down at the bottom that we don't often sing. And I'm going to summarize 4 and 5 where
No, you have to read 4. You just have
okay.
to. Oh, I
Okay.
love these.
When through the deep waters I call thee to go, the rivers of sorrow shall not thee o'erflow. For I will be with thee, thy troubles to bless, and sanctify to thee thy deepest distress. It's beautiful, but then you have to keep going. So
Yes.
Tammy, read verse 5.
Okay. When through fiery trials thy pathway shall lie. I mean, all of this, I'm like,
Yeah, we've
My
all been
grace, yeah, my grace, all sufficient, shall be thy supply. The flame shall not hurt thee. I only design thy dross to consume, thy dross to consume, thy dross to consume, and thy gold to refine.
there. Right? Powerful. And then Stacey, read that verse 6, please.
Sure. Even down to old age, all my people shall prove my sovereign, eternal, unchangeable love. And then when gray hair shall their temples adorn, like lambs shall they still, like lambs shall they still, and my bosom be born.
Great. It's just beautiful. And I love, okay, so when Amanda Barnes-Smith was in the middle of this cornfield, she heard a voice out loud saying to her the words of this last verse that we often miss. Verse 7, the soul that on Jesus hath leaned for repose, I cannot desert to his foes. That soul, though all hell should endeavor to shake, I'll never, no, never, no, never forsake. And that was the Spirit telling her that when you lean on me for repose, I will not desert you. I will always be with you. I will never forsake you. And that's what gave her the strength to get through this ridiculous trial. So I love that.
I'm marking this right now. This is so cool. I never knew this.
I know, but we need to sing the last verse more often, right?
Yeah, we should only sing verses 5, 6, and 7.
I know.
That's so cool.
One of the things I love too is about the story about the wounds and the experiences that she was having is that comes to mind. I had a friend once, her name is Emily Halverson, and she's a total scriptorian. And we were chatting about, this has been years ago now, trials in life and how things can be hard. And she said, and I think she was quoting somebody else, so if this belongs to somebody else, I don't know. I just can't remember for sure if it does or not, or if it was just her idea, that just because we haven't done something doesn't mean we're not prepared for it. And I wonder that about that story about with her son and her experiences in the massacre. It would have been awful not to become so fearful that you would have walked away from the church at that point, knowing that the people that you love so much were so at risk, especially your children. Your children were at risk. I mean, her children were shot. You'd certainly have a feeling to protect them, but the one son lived because even though she hadn't been a nurse, didn't mean that she wasn't prepared, not just in her knowledge, but spiritually.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? So her trials don't end there. In fact, the story continues, and the story in Missouri continues. Mm-hmm. She goes back home, I don't know when, but the mobs come to her house and say, the governor has issued this extermination order. You have to leave. And she said, oh, do you want to see why I haven't left? Come on in. And she takes them to her bed where her crippled son is laying. And she shows them and she's like, this is what you did. And this is why I have not left. And they they said, I'm so sorry. And she said, you have taken my horses and my wagon. That's why I haven't left. And one of them said to her, ma'am, do you know how to butcher a hog? And she said, yes, I do. And he went and left and came back and brought her a hog to butcher. So she had meat for her family. Later,
Wow.
when her son was well enough to get up and leave, she knew where her horses were. She went to the man who had kept one of her horses and she took it. And then she went to get the other horse and she knocked on the door and she said, I need my horse back. And he said, well, I'll sell it to you. And she said, no, you won't. It's my horse. And she wouldn't pay for it. And he was a miller. He had a mill. And he said, ma'am, do you have any wheat? And she said, no. And he went and brought her a sack of wheat. So we see how the Lord immediately takes care of her.
Wow.
She is blessed. She stands up for what she needs and she is given everything that she needs. She is never forsaken. And I love that story.
That's
I love her.
yeah. Her faithfulness. I wonder what it was about her when she met these men who were trying to persecute her. Were they like, just let me clarify, government officials in the first story where she
They
says
were
this,
just Missourians.
oh, they were just local people. Okay. But to be so rejected by a group of people, but to stand your ground and to ask for the things that you're literally entitled to. And one of them answered the call. He answered his conscience and
Right.
brought her grain. It reminds me of the story of Elijah in the Old Testament, where he meets the widow and she's got the empty barrel and everything. But what a faith promoting story that she held her ground and she wasn't afraid. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. She wasn't afraid. Under the circumstances of post massacre, I think I would have been fearful of the people around me.
Right.
It reminds me of the other story of Elijah too, Stace, the one where he's just so tired and he's so done. And he's like, I can't anymore. And he just lays down almost like he's giving up. And so he's like, I can't. And he lays down to die. And the Lord's like, oh, bless you. I'll feed you. Ravens show up with food, feed him. The Lord lets him rest, but it's not over. Like, oh, I got more work for you to do. I think, yeah, like the Lord's just taking care of her. Like, oh, I know. And then I go back to how firm a foundation, like, boy, you've been through a lot. Whew. And there'll be more.
So do we know the end of her story? Does she make it
Oh, yeah. There's more. I'm not done yet.
Oh, carry on. This is so cool.
Right. So she goes to Nauvoo and she marries another man, her second husband, whose name is also Warren Smith. Weird. But she joins the Nauvoo Relief Society and is an active member of that relief society. In fact, at one point, Emma is writing a letter to Governor George Carlin, the Illinois governor, who has been petitioned by the Missouri governor to send Joseph back for a trial, another trial. Not that he hasn't already spent all this time in Liberty Jail. Emma is trying to protect her husband. And so she sends a letter to the governor, and there's this incredible exchange of correspondence between the two of them, which shows that Emma's very aware of the charter of the city of Nauvoo and the rights of the citizens of Illinois. But at one point, she works up a petition, and the Relief Society women sign this petition. And then she goes with Amanda Barnes-Smith and Eliza Arsenault to deliver this to the governor. And I think it's interesting that she chose these two because she herself, they had suffered so much in Missouri. There's one account that says Eliza may have had been raped by the Missourian mobs, and Amanda lost her husband and her son and everything else. And so they're the women, these three, that take the petition signed by all the women of Nauvoo to the governor of Illinois to ask him to protect Joseph Smith. It's a very select group, these three women. And I love that Amanda is part of that. It just shows, it shows her community of women. Her sisters were women that we know and that we've heard of, and that she's a huge part of that select group. So the rest of her story is both sad and encouraging. So she has this second husband named Warren Smith, who was a blacksmith, and they have 3 children together. And then Warren becomes abusive and was unfaithful, and he fathered 2 children with another woman. So she left him in December of 1850, and she decided to start up a relief society in Salt Lake City. I think it was the 12th Ward. This was before Brigham Young called for the organization of relief societies in 1868. This is in the 1850s. She is the president of the Salt Lake City 12th Ward Relief Society, and they are seeing the needs of local Native Americans, American Indians, indigenous people, and that they need help. So she gathers these women around her, and they try to provide clothing and food for those people and for each other. So she just kept going. She was praised for being a veteran in Zion, and she was so proud of her children for being faithful. She moved to live with her daughter in Richmond, Utah, and she died in 1886. But she described her life like this. She said her life was as a checkered scene of joy and trouble. I have drank the dregs of the cup of sorrow and affliction, as well as partaken of the blessings of an all-wise, merciful God.
Hold on. I love that.
Oh my gosh. But also I think, like, just to sort of, in my mind, just the things you've said, what a leader. It sounds like the women of the church wanted her to represent them. And I love too that she and Emma and maybe some others that went to their government officials knew the law well enough to represent themselves. I think that's actually really important.
Isn't that?
Yeah, and to know our rights and know when we're within our legal system to protect ourselves. I mean, she sounds like she was spot on there. What a woman ahead of her time.
Mm-hmm. Also, I forgot to mention this. She participated in 1870. A group of women in Salt Lake City gathered together. It's called the Great Indignation Meeting in January. They gathered together to publicly speak against federal legislation trying to prevent the practice of plural marriage in Utah. And these women were speaking up and speaking up for their rights to religious freedom. And she's a part of that. She speaks in the old Adobe Tabernacle in Salt Lake City, and you can read what she said in the minutes of the Great Indignation Meeting in First 50 Years of Relief Society, which is also in your Gospel Library app under Church History.
Which is also brought to you by Jenny Reeder.
Thank you, Jenny Reeder. Look at Jenny Reeder's great mind. Wow, it's so amazing. I love listening to Jenny.
Not to mention At the Pulpit, which is also on the Gospel Library app, brought to you by Jenny Reeder. She knows her stuff.
We got good stuff. So she was also involved in suffrage, women's suffrage.
I really like this woman.
Don't you want to be like her?
I want to meet her. I'm going to stand in the Amanda Barnes-Smith line up in heaven.
Me too.
I do too.
I want to be with you, Jenny, when we're in line.
Yeah.
I'll come stand with you.
Know everybody there.
Yeah. I want to be with Jenny when she meets all of the women.
You should be able to introduce you to everybody.
Yes, right? We'll be like, we're with Jenny.
Yeah.
Get to the line.
I can't wait to meet them. I can't wait.
What a good example. I mean, isn't it wonderful to read the stories of these women who are in our history, and yet their lessons are so easily applicable to our lives today?
Right. I think we need to I would love to write a biography of Amanda Barnes-Smith, but I would also love to write a children's story just about Amanda. We have a couple of children's books from Deseret Book or other places that Women Who Choose God, or there's a new one, Change Makers, that just came out. But they're about several different women. And I want girls and boys to read a whole little illustrated book about Amanda Barnes-Smith.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Do it, Jenny. Do it.
Right?
I wish I could invite you to do that. I wish I was in a position to do that. So someone hearing
Me
or listening
too.
to this should do that.
I know. I wish I was an artist because I'd be like, I'll draw it for you. I'll find an artist for you.
You know, I actually met one who came up to me after I spoke at their Sake Relief Society in Springville. And she gave me her card and she said, I'm an artist and I feel like I need to work with you.
Jenny, there it is. Do it.
I know.
Tell her
Line right
story.
there.
Tell Amanda's story. That is what needs to happen.
But not just Amanda. I want to tell all their stories.
Right, exactly.
Oh, I know. The sisters. You got to tell the sisters who saved the Doctrine and Covenants. Their story should be a cute book. Mm-hmm.
And you think of of course, all the children, but the little girls that could be so impressed by those stories when they're so young to open doors of them thinking about future possibilities for themselves.
That's the whole point of this series, is so people can know the women's stories.
That's right. We are strong women and we come from strong women. So we have a legacy and a heritage that is so incredible.
Hear, hear. Brilliant job, Jenny. Wow.
So good.
So good. Thank you. Thank you for teaching us about her. Oh my gosh, that was cool.
That was great.
Thanks for joining us for Unnamed Women of the Doctrine and Covenants. Unnamed Women of the Doctrine and Covenants is a special bonus series from the Sunday on Monday podcast, and you can find it wherever you get podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more on the LDS Living podcast feed. So go follow us for many more women this year. The Sunday on Monday study group is a Deseret Bookshelf Plus original brought to you by LDS Living. It's written and hosted by me, Tammy Uzelak Hall. Our podcast is produced by Koa Singer and me. It is edited and mixed by Koa Singer, and our executive producer is Aaron Hallstrom. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week. And please remember, you are God's favorite. Because one of the guys has a record